Grout Release is a removable surface coating designed to prevent staining of tile, textured tile, and stone when using a colored grout. 1 quart of Grout Release will cover anywhere from 75 to 150 square feet. Depending on the porosity of the tile, depends on how much you're going to get out of it. It's water cleanup and easy to use. When applying Grout Release, make sure to use it full strength. You do not dilute this product at all. The application of Grout Release is a very simple process. We're just going to take a sponge, dip it in the bucket that already has Grout Release in it, and we're just going to sponge it on the tile going north, south, east, west. Using Grout Release on stone mosaics is a great idea, especially because of all the texture with slate or a travertine. And what we want to do is make sure everything is covered 100%. So we're going to go north, south, east, and west. So I'm going to do is get my sponge, set with some Grout Release, and I'm going to start going down the tile. As you can see, it transfers right on there nicely. We want to make sure we get 100% coverage to make it easier for that grout to come out. Some more on there. You can be pretty liberal with this. Don't worry about using too much. It comes off with water, so it's an easy cleanup process. So now that I've gone north and south, to make sure I get all the voids, I'm going to start going east and west, just to make sure I get 2 nice coats on there. After applying the Grout Release, remember we want to let it dry for about 30 to 35 minutes. We want to let it set up and make it easy for the grout to be wiped off. If you're grouting a smaller area and you don't want to mix that much grout, that's alright. You can put the drill away. You don't need it. Grab yourself a margin trowel, a bucket, get your grout, and some additive. Okay, what we do here is we're going to pour the additive in the bucket first. We always add the powder to the liquid. Alright? So once I have that in there, I'm going to add my grout. Alright. Now a little more elbow grease when you have to do it by hand, but it's fine. What you do is start slow so you're not splashing it all over yourself. And sometimes you might have to add a little more latex or a little more grout to get that right consistency. Looking at it right now, I'm obviously going to need a little more powder. This is pretty runny. Make sure you get all the dry grout into that latex. Let's add a little more grout here. Now that I have the grout mixed to a nice consistency, I like peanut butter or toothpaste, you're ready to go. But remember, once you get it mixed, let it sit for 5 minutes and slake. Then come back, remix it up a little bit, throw it on the tile, and you can get to grouting. Alright, so just grab it, throw it right on the tile. Pretty easy. We want to get enough so we can move it in. Now remember, when you're working with a mosaic tile, you're going to use a lot more grout. There's a lot of grout joints, alright? So you're going to eat up a lot more grout than, say, if you're working with a 12 by 12 or 16-inch tile. Once we have our grout on the floor, you can go ahead and start floating it into the grout joint. Now I like to keep my float at a 45-degree angle and just start working it into the grout joints. I tend to use the front edge of my float quite a bit because then you can get really close to the walls or certain areas. Go ahead and pack it in there. What you want to make sure is when you're moving big chunks of grout across the floor, go at an angle. Don't ever go across right into the grout joints like this, because you'll pull the grout out. We want to move at an angle to move the grout around. What you're going to do is just keep working it in. Try to get as much off the surface as possible. Alright, now that I got a majority of the excess grout off the surface of the tile, it's important that we start sponging off the surface part of the grout that's sticking to the tile right away. Go ahead and rinse out your sponge all the way. Okay, we don't want to be sopping water onto the grout. So when you look at my sponge, water is not dripping off of it. okay? It's just damp. Now the first couple swipes, we're just gonna go and take off a majority of the stuff that's been stuck on the surface, and we rinse quite a bit. You're always rinsing your sponge. You'll probably go through a couple buckets of rinse water per every 50 square feet. All right, it's been 24 hours since we grouted. We've come across a nice grout haze. What we want to do is use our grout haze and film remover, remove this haze, let it dry, and then we're good to go for sealing and protecting.